This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith, and in your headlines today, Guyana will need more than updated laws and proper oversight for oil to be springboard for development, according to an expert, and Article 13 urges to confirm Chancellor and Chief Justice. EPA says efforts ongoing to ensure minimum exposure of public to radioactive substances. 3 months after disastrous spill, Peru fishermen can now access emergency fund. Environmentalist urges government to pursue solar power generation, and almost 2 years later, Vice President Jagdeo yet to honor promise to release payout report by controversial Canadian politician. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Celebrate Easter with Digicel. Enjoy up to 50% discounts on selected smartphones in the month of April. Plus, get a free 30-day Prime bundle included with your purchase. Get the DL3 Pro for only $9,750 or the Samsung A035 with a free case and screen protector for just $32,000. Plus, enjoy a free 30-day Prime bundle with the best premium content on the go. Offer good while stocks last. Visit a Digicel store today. For even more details and discounts and amazing Easter gifts, make sure to check out the My Digicel app. Happy phone shopping and happy Easter from Digicel. Better together.
And now for the news in detail. While it is commendable that Guyanese authorities are making strides in updating their laws, improving planning systems, and strengthening oversight, these mechanisms are not enough to make oil an automatic springboard for development. So said Dr. Zainab Usman, a senior fellow and director of the Africa program at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace in Washington, D.C. Dr. Usman was keen to note that Guyana must, among other things, put in place systems to maximize earnings, manage revenues transparently, and create buffers against the volatility of global oil prices. She said this will entail legislation, policies, and regulations being implemented across the oil and gas value chain. Dr. Usman said too that it is critical for Guyana to accelerate efforts on capacity building to monitor oil and gas operations, hire the requisite technical personnel, promote governance and transparency, and undertake financial and economic planning. The industry expert said that Guyana needs to pay attention to the lessons several countries offer on the pitfalls of oil. In other news, it has been 1 year and 7 months since the Irfan Ali-led government has failed to honor its solemn promise to release a critical report conducted by controversial Canadian consultant Alison Redford on the $9 billion Kaieteur project. Specifically, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat said on September 15, 2020, that the Redford report on the review of the Kaieteur Field Development Plan would be made public in that very month. In December of 2020, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo had also given a public commitment to have this said document made public. President Irfan Ali had made similar utterances as well. The PPP government subsequently granted its approval for the Kaieteur project on September 30, 2020. But the Redford report and the terms of reference of her work remain hidden from public scrutiny. The Redford report is of particular importance to transparency advocates and civil society groups since it would provide a deeper understanding of the extent to which Guyana's interest was protected. And now let's tell you, even as Guyana's proposed legislation for radiation safety and security is underway, the EPA has been working to ensure that the public's exposure to radioactive substances is at a minimum. This is according to Tashana Redmond, a senior officer attached to the Technical Services Department of the EPA. The EPA official noted that the wave-type energy source can be used in harmful and non-harmful ways. She noted that Guyana has limited radiation sources, which do not pose a risk to people located 100 meters outside the source. The environmental officer said that in the meantime, the EPA has been working with the various corporations and entities to ensure that the risk to public safety remains low. And in other news, after decades of no confirmed Chief Justice and Chancellor of the Judiciary, Article 13, a civil society body, has called on the government of Guyana and opposition to finally appoint those who have been acting in the respective capacities. In a statement to the media on Monday, the group, including attorney-at-law Christopher Ram and transparency advocate Yog Mahadio, pointed out that the former acting Chancellor of the Judiciary and Justice of the Court of Appeal, Carl Singh, retired in 2017 after serving 12 years. Justice Yonit Cummings Edwards has been acting since then. Similarly, Justice Ian Chung served as acting Chief Justice from 2010 to 2016 and was never confirmed. Following his retirement, Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire was appointed to serve as acting Chief Justice. And now let's tell you, 3 months after approximately 12,000 barrels of crude was spilled into Peruvian waters, the affected people, mainly fishermen, can now access the emergency fund the government organized for them to receive advance compensation from the culpable oil company. The advance compensation to the fishermen and others affected by the spill came about as a result of negotiations done by the government of Peru, which is working towards getting the Spanish oil giant Repsol to assume the economic impact of the spill. It was reported that due to the fact that the legal process for compensation to the affected families would take a long time, the government of Peru got the oil giant to sign an advance compensation agreement. In order to provide adequate aid for the citizens, the Peruvian government recently ordered the oil giant to pay an additional sum of $700 compensation to each citizen affected by the spill. And now let's tell you, in the absence of a feasibility study for the highly touted gas-to-energy project and the climbing cost to supply reliable energy to Guyana, environmentalist Alfred Bulai is urging the government to channel its investments into solar power generation. According to him, GPL is caught in an inefficiency trap as it still only aims to deliver electricity at 80% power factor, and consumers are allowed to operate at unbelievably lower power factors. In addition, he said he also noticed that the many transformers required in this system seem to have no maintenance. According to him, checks for moisture and oxidation are not done until a transformer blows out or to indicate replacement. Bulai suggested that 10,000 new homes can be powered by 50 megawatt of solar energy. On Sunday, GPL published an expression of interest where it said it is hunting for independent power producers that can supply 50 megawatts of power to the national grid for 3 years, commencing from March 2023. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your News at Noon. We will resume after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. At a recent statutory meeting, Regional Chairman David Armagon revealed that thus far, 60% of the 63,000 acres of rice planted in Region 6 have been harvested, and efforts are being made to repair some deplorable dams to invest the remaining 40%. Rice farmers began planting in around November to December of last year, with harvesting commencing in March. Prior to that, harvesting for the previous crop was done in October to November of last year, but would have commenced earlier if it was not for the heavy flooding experienced mid-last year. Additionally, Armagon mentioned that the Ministry of Agriculture has provided $39 million to execute works on the dams within the rice cultivating areas, such as in Blackbush Poulter, which is in a deplorable condition, with additional funding being sought from the region to commence further works. In other news, the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union and the Clerical and Commercial Workers Union on Tuesday signed a multi-year memorandum of agreement for salaries and other conditions of employment for the credit union staff. The collective labor agreement, which will be in force until February 2024, will see, among other things, the introduction of paternity leave at the organization for the first time. The credit union said under the agreement, different categories of the credit union staff will enjoy a 15%, 10%, and 5% salary increase respectively for the year 2022. The agreement also caters for 15% across-the-board increase for the year 2023, among other benefits. And moving on, 22-year-old Alex Amsterdam, a security guard of Sparendam squatting area, East Coast Demerara, was killed in a road accident along the railway embankment in the vicinity of Ogle. According to information, he crashed around 23 hours 45 on Monday into the right side of a Toyota Allia motor car at the intersection of the Ogle Access Road. Eyewitnesses have alleged that his death was caused by the car's driver, who ignored Amsterdam's tooting horn as he approached the intersection. One eyewitness noted that Amsterdam was bleeding from a puncture wound to his throat and recalled that during his final moments, he appeared to be fighting for his life. Police arrested the driver, who eyewitnesses claimed refused to take Amsterdam to the hospital when they were pleading with him to do so. Eyewitnesses also alleged that the driver was under the influence of alcohol. He is presently in police custody. And now let's tell you, the gold miner who was arrested for the alleged killing of his co-worker, Roy Harry, at Reserve Barometer Region 1, was on Thursday charged and remanded to prison for the offense. Making his first court appearance was Rommel Pritchard, who appeared before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan. Pritchard was not required to plead to the charge, which states that on April 13th, last at Reserve Barometer, he murdered 29-year-old Harry, a father of two. The Chief Magistrate, after remanding Pritchard to prison, adjourned the matter to May 3rd, 2022. And in other news, despite dwindling cases, 5 women are the latest to contract COVID-19, according to the Ministry of Health. Region 6 recorded 1, Regions 3 and 4 recorded 2 each. The cases have brought the total number of confirmed cases to 63,380. 6 persons are in institutional isolation, 92 are in home isolation, and 6 are in institutional quarantine. 5 persons recovered from the virus, bringing the total number of confirmed recovery cases to 62,054. To date, the country's death toll stands at 1,228. And we wrap things up with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. An appropriate Bible verse found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 15 says, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man is he who listens to counsel." Guyana is a blessed country, blessed with bountiful natural resources. It is the land of many waters and so many other invaluable treasures. But our country can only reach its full potential if our leaders pay heed to the counsel it has been offered. It's no secret that the country's oil and gas sector in particular is one which is still fairly new. While we struggle to develop our human resources, we must be open to advice from the experts in the field and be willing to implement measures suggested to benefit the people. Many have warned of the dangers Guyana can be exposed to if it fails to develop its resources in a safe manner and stand up to the bullies in the oil sector. Are our leaders wise or foolish? Indeed, time will expose who they truly are. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
It's midweek, it's Wednesday, April 20th. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to